fifth grade. Welcome to another great day of learning. My name is Miss Hall, and I am a fifth grade reading and language arts teacher at William Fox Elementary School. For today's lesson, you are going to need a piece of paper, or you can print the files from RPS at home. Either one will work. You're going to need something to write with, so a pen, a pencil, a marker, something you can write with. You're going to need whatever device you are watching me on, and then you're going to need a positive attitude. I know we're all going a little stir crazy being stuck in our houses for right now, but we can still have a great day of learning. So if you're missing any of those things, go ahead and pause this video and go grab them now. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to share my screen with you. All right. So yesterday we started working on compare and contrast, and we are going to continue working on that topic today. So our learning intentions today are: I can identify the text structure, compare and contrast. I can list signal words of the compare and contrast text structure. I can compare and contrast details in an informational nonfiction text. So informational nonfiction text, that just means that we're talking about, so an informative text is something that's teaching you about something, and then nonfiction, we know, means that it's real. So it's something that you might find in like your science textbook. All right, so today what we're going to do, we're going to discuss some vocabulary, the same vocabulary we talked about yesterday. We're going to read an article and answer some questions. And then at the end of our lesson, I have a short little game for us to play. All right, so I'm going to go through and talk a little bit about our vocabulary. We looked at this slide yesterday. So remember, our goal of the week is I can compare and contrast details in a text. And so we talked about how when we're working on comparing and contrasting, we can use a graphic organizer called a Venn diagram. I know you've probably used these since like kindergarten. So when we're looking at our Venn diagram, remember, so our words in the middle here, so the things that they have in common, that would be our comparing. So some of our signal words for that are similarities, both, compare, the same as, the same, in common, alike. Those are some of our signal words that tell us that we're comparing. Then when we're talking about our differences or our contrasts, those go on the outside of our Venn diagram. And so those signal words would be differences, different, contrast. On the other hand, however, those are our signal words that tell us differences or that we're contrasting. All right, so what we're going to be doing today, I have a passage that we're going to read called Gators and Crocs. So it's about alligators and crocodiles. So you have a couple of options for this. So that you can listen to me read the article aloud. I have it divided up over a couple of slides, and I'm going to be reading it out loud. You can go on the RPS at home page and you can print or read on your computer and read it to yourself. Or if you want to like read along on the slideshow, you can do that. So what you're going to do while you're either reading it to yourself or listening to me read it, we're going to be underlining our signal words as we read. So remember, these are a lot of our signal words. So both would be words we'd be underlining, and, alike, different, things like that. So when you see those words, you're going to underline it so that way we can monitor our comprehension. Once we're done reading, we're going to be filling out a Venn diagram, and then you're going to be answering some questions. So you need to make sure that you're paying attention to the passage, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading the passage out loud to you. If you would rather read it online, you can go ahead and read it online instead. All right, so can you tell a gator from a croc? Look closely at the reptiles pictured below. Can you tell which one is the crocodile and which is the alligator? Many people confuse crocodiles and alligators, and it's no wonder. The two animals are closely related. However, that is a signal word we can underline. However, if you know a few facts about each animal, I think you will be able to tell them apart. First, let's examine how the two creatures are alike. We're going to underline the word alike because that's a signal word telling us about comparisons. Both, underline both, crocodiles and alligators are large, four-legged reptiles that live primarily in warm, tropical swamps and rivers. Both have good eyesight and good night vision. Having their eyes on top of their head helps them see when they are swimming underwater. Both have a special additional eyelid called a nictitating membrane. This clear eyelid keeps their eyes moist and clean. Since it's clear, crocs and gators can see through this eyelid even when it's closed. Both have excellent hearing and senses of smell. Their ears and nostrils have flaps and close when they dive underwater. How long can alligators and crocodiles stay underwater? While they usually stay under for half an hour or less, they can hold their breath much longer. Alligators and crocodiles, we can underline the word "and," that's a signal word. Alligators and crocodiles can spend 2 hours or more underwater while resting. Both animals have huge, powerful tails that help them swim and fight predators, but the tails serve another function as well. Their tails store fat that can be used for nourishment when food is scarce. Mother alligators and crocodiles guard their eggs. We can underline that word "and." And crocodiles guard their eggs and take good care of, good care of their hatchlings. Most other reptiles, including turtles and snakes, lay their eggs and move on. They do not watch after or care for their young like alligators and crocodiles do. While these facts may be interesting, they're not helping you determine which picture is an alligator and which one is a crocodile. To help you tell them apart, let's discuss how these two animals are different. We can underline the word "different." That's one of our signal words. While both are crocodiles, they are in different groups or families. In fact, there are 3 families of crocodilians. There's an alligator family, which includes alligators and caiman. There's also a crocodile family. And there's a third group called garlias, which are an endangered group of crocodilians from India. Let's see, underline the word "different" in that bullet point. Alligators and caiman have U-shaped rounded snouts. Crocodile snouts are more pointed and V-shaped. Garlia snouts are very long and slender. In fact, the garlia snout is so slender that it can only catch and eat fish. Alligators and crocodiles eat all sorts of animals. So you're probably wondering what a garlia looks like. Here's a picture. It's right here. They look a lot different than the alligators and crocodiles. As you see, it's neither an alligator nor a crocodile, but it's in a group all of its own. Its snout is thin, so it can't catch and eat large, strong animals like alligators and crocodiles can. It's estimated that only 5,000 or so garlias are alive in the world today. And alligators, did I have any? Oh, I underlined the word "but" in that sentence because that can be one of the things that tells us differences. An alligator's wider upper jaw overlaps its lower jaw, and when it closes its mouth. Because of this, its teeth don't show. A crocodile's upper and lower jaw, however, are about the same width. So when a crocodile closes its mouth, some of its teeth still show. So I underlined the word "however" in that bullet point. While many crocodiles live in fresh water, some also live in saltier seawater. The largest crocodilian of all, the estuarine crocodile of Australia and Asia, is an example of a species that can be found in both fresh and salt water. Alligators are found only in freshwater habitats. And then in that bullet point, we could have underlined the word "while" because that's one of our signal words. Look back at the 2 pictures on the first page. Now that you know your crocodilians, you should be able to tell which picture is the croc and which one is the gator. To the left, you see the American alligator. You can tell by the shape of its snout. To the right, a saltwater crocodile. So I'll go back to that first one. So on the left, we'll see our alligator. All right, so that's our alligator, and then this is our crocodile. All right. All right, so now what we're going to do, so you have read through that passage. Hopefully you thought it was interesting. I thought it was kind of cool to learn some more about alligators and crocodiles. You are going to need either the printed pages from RPS, the website, or you can make these on your own. I made them on my own. So you are going to need a piece of paper, and you can fold your piece of paper in half. So go ahead and fold it in half, and then you can unfold it. You're folding it like a hamburger. All right, what you're gonna do at the top of your paper, you are going to draw a Venn diagram. It just needs to be a normal Venn diagram, and we are going to fill this out, okay? So your Venn diagram, you're going to label it gators, both, and crocs, okay? So gators, you would write about alligators. Both, you would write about their similarities. Crocs, you're going to write about crocodiles. So I'm gonna show you a word bank. All right, so this is your word bank. Let me move my picture so you can see that. All right, so this is your word bank up here at the top of the screen, okay? So what I want you to do is pause this video in a second, and you are gonna sort these 9 different details. You're going to sort the 9 different details and put it in either about alligators, either about crocodiles, or about both, okay? So go ahead and pause the video and fill out your Venn diagram with these details. All right, so at this point, you should have sorted all of your details. We're going to go through and check your Venn diagram. All right, so let's talk about alligators first. So you should have had written down for alligators that they have U-shaped snouts and that they are only found in fresh water. For crocodiles, you should have written down that they have V-shaped snouts and that they are found in fresh and salt water, sorry. And then for both, you should have that they are large four-legged reptiles. They both have good eyesight. They both have excellent hearing. They both spend 2 hours underwater, and they both guard their eggs. So go ahead and check your Venn diagram. If you have a couple of mistakes, pause the video and fix it now. All right, so now what we're going to do, I have 5 different questions we're going to go through and answer. So you can print this from RPS and answer it on your printed paper, or if you're writing on paper like I am, you are going to take your piece of paper, so we folded it in half, right? So you're going to use the bottom half of your paper and number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what you're going to do as we go through it, I'll read you the question, you'll write down the answers, and then we'll talk about them at the end, okay? All right, so I'm going to go through and read you the questions. If you would rather read it to yourself, that's fine. All right, so number 1 says correctly label each picture as alligator, a crocodile, or a goraly. So go ahead and label your 3 pictures. All right, number 2 says crocodiles live A, only in salt water, B, only in fresh water, C, in saltwater and freshwater, or D, only in India. Go ahead and pick the best answer. All right, if you're not done answering, take the time to answer it, but you can pause the video. But if you have answered, we're going to go ahead and talk about the correct answers. So number 1, you should have written down crocodile for this first one, goraly for the second, and alligator for the third. Number 2, the answer is C, in both saltwater and freshwater. All right, so now we're going to go through, if you want to pause the video and answer these 3 questions on your paper, you can, or I can read them out loud to you. We'll check them once you have answered all 3. So number 3 says, according to the article, how are mother alligators and crocodiles different from mother turtle and snakes? You can pause the video and get that question answered. Number 4 says, explain what a nictitating membrane is and what it does. Go ahead and pause the video and answer that question. Number 5 says, tell whether each fact about gorillas is true or false. So gorillas live in South America. True or false? The second one says gorillas are an endangered species. Is that true or false? The third one says gorillas are a type of alligator. Is that true or false? The fourth one says gorillas only eat fish. Is that true or false? If you have not gotten these answered, go ahead and pause your video so you can take the time to write down the answer. And I'm going to go through and let's check your answers. Number 3, so this one was asking about how alligators and crocodiles are different from turtles and snakes. So the correct answer is mother alligators and crocodiles watch over and protect their young. Number 2 was asking you about the nictitating membrane. So that was its eyelid. So it's a clear eyelid. It cleans and moistens the eyes of alligators and crocodiles. It also allows them to see underwater. And then number 5, it says, tell whether each fact about gorillas is true or false. That first one, so gorillas live in South America, that is false. Gorillas are an endangered species is true. Gorillas are a type of alligator, that is false. And then gorillas only eat fish, that is true. All right, so the last thing we're going to do today together as a group is I have a little bit of a game for us to play. Let me move my picture. All right, so you are going to be trying to find similarities and differences. So your job, you need to, on the back of your paper, you're going to make a chart. You can either make one that looks like this, or you can make a chart that looks like this, where it's just similarities and differences and a line down the middle. So I'm going to show you 2 different pictures in a second. It's going to be behind this gray screen. What you are going to do, you're going to try to find 4 similarities and 4 differences. But the way I want you to write down your similarities and your differences is by using your signal words. So you can say things like, both pictures have. That would be a way you could write your similarity sentence. Or your difference one could say, picture 1 has, and then however, picture 2 has. All right, so that's what you're going to be doing. So I'm going to move this gray screen and start the timer. All right, you have 2 minutes. Go ahead. All right, so you should have found several different differences. So some of our differences, you could have talked about the rays of the sun. So you could say picture 1 has rays on the sun, picture 2 does not. You could have talked about the petals of the flowers. You could have talked about the dots on the butterfly, the eye of the ladybug. Any of those would have worked for your differences as long as you included a signal word for each one. All right, so that is all we are doing with that. All right, so your homework tonight is kind of similar to yesterday. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to write a response to this prompt. So can you tell a gator from a croc? In the article, Can You Tell a Gator from a Croc?, you learned about the similarities and differences between crocodiles and alligators. In your own words, write a paragraph describing how to tell the 2 animals apart using only your eyes. So you are going to write 1 paragraph answering that question. So that's the first thing you're going to do tonight for homework. And then the second thing, you're going to choose one of these topics. So it's the same choices as yesterday. So you can play the vocabulary compare and contrast game. You log on through Clever to do that. You can play iReady for 20 minutes. That I think is through Clever too. And then you can choose the choice book to read for 20 minutes. So that is what you are working on tonight. All right, so that is all I have for you all today. So we have been working on compare and contrast. We will continue to work on this tomorrow. I hope you have a great evening and goodbye.